So, coming to that, so we get a lot of funding, a lot of investments put in from people who would like to definitely give this money, for the betterment, basically, right? So, I was talking to one of my friend, and I was, telling about the interaction that we are going to have today. So the first question that my friend asked that how do you earn money in the first place? Because you have a team to take care, right? First of all, you when you're doing it full time, you definitely want to provide those facilities to them to make them enabled to work towards whatever they want to do, because this is an area where a lot of it's not a sitting job for sure. Right, it requires a lot of traveling, a lot of this thing, what I understand, right? So probably why don't you put some light on this particular part?
Sure. So I think the misconception that people have is that non-profits are not sustainable, which is not true, right? Like a non-profit works exactly like a for-profit organization. The only difference being that we as directors don't take the profits, but whatever surplus that the organization creates at the end of the year goes back into the company. So that is the only difference. Does not mean that we don't pay people. Of course, there are few things, right? The entire pay scale, if you see, is much lower in the development sector, and somehow I'm not a very big supporter of it, but I'm a part of the system, and I have to accept that. But I believe that people, especially in my team, work much harder than they would if they were doing a typical architecture or a design job. They work day and night. They stay away from their homes for a month or two in some of the very difficult geographies of the country, and they do real hard work. I mean, right from, it's not like they don't do things on computer. Of course, they do the entire planning bit, but they also spend time on the ground, and I feel they should be compensated equally, even if they were not. I mean, they're doing good and they're also working hard. So I believe like it should be that way. But of course, like we have certain limitations and we try to accommodate to that. The most beautiful part about this sector and about my team is I don't think anyone here works just for money. So I've seen in a lot of companies, right? Like, if you're not giving me money, I will not work for you. When this entire lockdown happened, I saw that the team was very supportive and we just wanted things to move forward. And I see a lot of times, even if the team has to go out of their way to make things work, they do that. And not just the team, like even everyone else in the sector. Like I think one of the most beautiful things that I like about this sector is I get to meet amazing individuals who have, and it just inspires me to see how much they have sacrificed to do good for the society, and I think that motivates me as well.
Fantastic. It's really hard to find such people if you look at it, right? So how do you find such a team, such a great team to work for?
I mean, of course, we haven't done hiring at one go. We have built this team over the past 1-2 years.
Right.
So organically, people who stayed are the ones who are most motivated and want to continue with us. So it has taken time, and one of the things that I've learned as an entrepreneur is building a team takes time, and you cannot escape from that. Like there was a point when I was talking to my mentor, and I'm like, I should be fundraising when I'm interviewing these 20, 30 candidates. And my mentor said, "Ki Pooja, you will realize that it's all worth it because you cannot solve a problem alone. You need a team to do that. And if you spend time and get the right set of people, things will become easier for you in the future." So I think it's worth it.
Nice. Actually, see, the idea that you have is something that it makes sense. Actually, it's the bigger the team, the focus the team, the greater the impact that we can probably put do this in this country. Right?
Yeah.
So once you started, what kind of support you usually require from the government? Is it only the compliance, or other than funding? So let's say there are definitely companies who provide a lot of funds in this area. Right? So what is the process that you and which companies or which sector that you get these funding from, and what kind of financial help that you get from government? How do you get it?
Okay, so it's been 3.5 years and we have not received any funding from the government directly. We have, in the first year, we tried everything. We reached out to all the big foundations like Ajit Briggsy Foundation, Tata Trust, couple of incubators and got rejected everywhere in the first 3 months. Also because we were very young and we had actually not done much work, right? A lot of people just said, spend some time and then come and talk to us. So I think we also didn't have clarity at what stage whom to reach. So we understood that while we were on the journey. Tried to work with the government as well and gave up because we realized, we have very little time, and also because we had little patience, to be very honest. In the first year, we wanted to move fast. We also didn't have a lot of money to sustain us. So we tried all of that, failed, and then of course cried and cried thinking, what a mistake we have done in our lives. All of that happened, and then one day we just decided that let's do the work that we started, that we quit our jobs for, and the support system will fall in place post that. So we reached out to our network, friends, everyone that we could, talked about the idea we had, and we got support from 3-4 corporates who really liked the idea and supported us. And we built the first 7-8 playgrounds in 2-3 months. And once the work started happening on the ground, incubators, we got incubated at Bangalore, and we basically got more funding as we did work. So I think that's also one of the learning. That is also one of my learnings, that as soon as we start an enterprise, we try and get into an incubator or raise money, or the most important part is if you can create a solution to a real problem. If you are actually creating value, people will support you, and there is enough money to take your idea forward.
Awesome. So so basically it's more of a nut. What I understand is probably you might have to show your what kind of impact that you're putting on for right kind of people, so that you can get the fundings in the first place, right? So so let's say I'm new to this area and I want to explore and get the funding right at the beginning, right? So from the learning that you have, where should I attack, or where should I go forward in the right places, and what kind of mindset should I carry, and what kind of preparation should I have before presenting that kind of the idea in front of people to get the funding?
Similar to what I said, right? Like, the first thing is you need to have a lot of clarity in your vision, the problem that you're trying to solve, and you need to have a product ready before you can reach out to anyone for the support, right? Like, you as a founder, if you don't have clarity, an incubator or a funder will not come and give you that. So unless you have that, I think it's not a very good idea to reach out.
So when you say product, sorry. So when you say product ready, what stage is that? That when the company is registered, is that the stage, or what?
It can happen parallelly. You can register an organization. You can, of course, the first step is identifying the problem that you're trying to solve. I feel a product basically goes through many iterations in your journey. So at least the first MVP is something that you should target in the very beginning. You can try crowdfunding. That is something that I would recommend in the first 3 months. That is also a huge, that's proof that, because in crowdfunding, there are these individuals who are supporting you. So 300, 400 people sort of even contributing a small amount to your idea proves that your idea is something that the society needs. So that can be maybe the first step, and that can also act like your proof of concept. And maybe that is when you have actually given one solution or impacted one community, is when you can reach out to incubators and grants to support you in your journey to scale up the things that you have created. Even and incubators, I feel, are very, very helpful, especially if you are in early stage in the sense, like, if you start your journey very early in your career. We are here trying to scale an organization and have not even worked in scaled organizations. So that's where incubators, mentors play a very important role. Like I said, I did not have a lot of background in the development sector, but the incubation that we got gave us insights, gave us the connect, the network that we needed to stand this.
Oh, nice. So in fact, I came up with this point. So there are a couple of organizations which gives, I'm not sure how does it work, I'm just trying to understand. So there are a couple of organizations which gives the part of the amount as a donation, and there are groups that gives you that part as a funding, which the accountability is required for that case, right? So how does it work for you guys, or how does it work generally?
Yeah. So yes, what you said is correct. You have something called as program funds when you're a non-profit, and you have something called as capacity building fund, or so called unrestricted fund in the sector. The program funds is for a certain program. So if you are sort of doing training of teachers, or if you're building playgrounds, or if you're building libraries, this fund can be used only for that purpose. It cannot be used for any other purposes. The capacity building grant is basically to build your organization, to get smart people in the organization, because you as a founder will take a pay cut and will not take money salaries, but you need a team, right? And you need to pay them. So that is for that. It's, I think, the scope of getting, in my little experience, I feel it's much harder to get capacity building grants, because most people want their money to directly impact the people, right? Like they do. It's been very hard to explain that you need a strong team to be able to run those programs as well. Some of our supporters, and that's where I think most of the capacity building grants we got from our incubators, and we've been able to sort of like level up as soon as we got into an incubation. And I think our program is very, very clear in terms of building a playground. It's a very tangible product. So that's the way I think we have a lot more program funds, and that's why we've been able to scale. And we have created a solution where even with a very lean team, we can scale up to create more impact.
I can see there is a lot of groundwork, right? There are a lot of convincing, there are a lot of actually putting your idea across to people. Well, there are very less people who will actually put their money on something which is not at a par that it can actually impact. But they're definitely looking for an accountability. And how hard it is to get these things done, and usually.
I mean, I feel like not just in the non-profit, right? Like even if you're doing a startup, things are difficult. And as entrepreneurs, you've not set out to do easy things. So I don't know how to answer that question, but I think at the end of the day, that's the interesting part. That's the job, right? Like you find ways to move forward and create solutions. So right. I think within our team, we also talk about that, you can take these obstacles as blockers, or you can also think of them as opportunities to grow. I feel like even with COVID-19, I think it's definitely not a good thing, but it's also an opportunity for us to think, innovate, and bring the most creative side of ours to actually realize what is the need of the hour and be able to create those solutions.
Fantastic so much, because these times is something that a lot of people perish, but trust me, entrepreneurs are way beyond creating an imagination of what can be best done in this situation. Phenomenal. So let's come to something that probably gives us a ground to connect with a lot of people. So there may be a lot of associations or platforms where you meet and interact with other people, and you kind of share ideas. So first of all, what are those organizations? What are the associations that you recommend people who wants to start in this area? That is first. Second thing, how did it help you?
So I already had like a very good network from my college when I started at Anthill. So IIT Kharagpur is one of the biggest IITs and has a huge alumni network. And I think the culture that we have is very, very supportive, right? Like even when I reach out to a alumni who graduated 20 years back, there is this sense of same alma mater, and there is a support system out there in the world. So that's the first. Second is, so you need to analyze yourself and the ecosystem that you are in. Second, I think I was also a part of a lot of startup communities. So I did not limit myself to just non-profit ecosystems. I was a part of startup leadership program where people had different ideas, from fintech to creating platform solutions. So that it was sort of good for me to understand a little broader perspective. I was connected to the investors network, did not know what to do because I was a non-profit, very non-tech solution. But it did help me connect to a lot of companies. With the incubations that we were a part of, so we were a part of NSS Alliance Bangalore Incubation and Encore, which are the two, I would say, early stage incubators, and that gave us a very good network of startups and non-profits. So, and in our cohort, we had organizations who were at different stages. They were not all early stage. So it was very good for us to learn from someone who was maybe a year ahead from us or 2 years ahead of us, because we could learn from the mistakes that we had done or the right things that they had done. So there was a lot of peer learning that happened. And I feel, so when I was in college, I used to feel networking is overrated. I'm already connected to so many people. What do I do of this? But when I started Angel, I realized that you never stop networking, and it is a continuous process. So yeah, I think as we are doing work, keep meeting more people, a lot more people with similar synergies connect, and